Gurur Brahma, Gurur Vishnu, Guru Devo Maheshwara, Gurureva Param Brahma, Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Chinmayam Vyapyat Sarvam Trailokyam Sacharacharam Tatpadam Darshitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Tvameva Mata Cha Pita Tvameva Tvameva Bandhuscha Sakha Tvameva Tvameva Vidya Dravidam Tvameva Tvameva Sarvam Mama Deva Deva Tvameva Sarvam Mama Deva Deva. Jai Guru. Well, welcome to you all for our first session on the Aitareya Upanishad. Before we start, for those of you here in person, let's go around the room and share our names so that we can get to know everybody. So I'm Jim.
I'm Puneet. I'm David. I'm Ayush. Vinayak.
Bhavna.
Roman. Kapil.
Saundarya.
Okay, well, welcome to you all. So, little bit about the Upanishads themselves. They are part of the Vedas. The Vedas are the primary source literature, scriptures for Hinduism. Are you okay, dear?
Yeah, just grabbing
Okay. There are four: Rig Veda, Sama, Yajur, and Aitareya. This particular Upanishad comes from the Aitareya Aranyaka in the Rig Veda. The Rig Veda is the oldest book in the world. In the Rig Veda, for example, there are hymns to the river Saraswati. For many, many years, most people thought this river was mythological. Till we had satellite photography. And satellite photography, just where Rig Veda says it is, the Saraswati riverbed is there. Except there's not been any water in it for 10,000 years. It dried up after the end of the last ice age. So we know sections of Rig Veda are incredibly old. The Vedas in general are divided in, some scholars do it 3 sections, some say 4. This is review for some of you, but for some of you it may be new material. So the first section is the mantra portion. These are hymns. The second are the brahmanas. And these are rubrics for doing ritual. They tell the priests how to do a particular yajna, you know, how many bricks you need and how many priests you need and where they sit and what sort of things you need to use for the oblations, etc. Third, second section of them is called Aranyaka, which means forest literature. By and large, this is Upasana. Who can tell me what Upasana is? Worship. So hymns for worshiping various deities, principles of nature, etc. Embedded in the Aranyakas and sometimes not are the Upanishads. Upanishad, to sit down near. The Upanishads, there are 108 of them spread through all the Vedas. It's not just, first section, second, third section, Upanishad. They're all interwoven. But 108 have been identified by most scholars. 11 of them are considered Mukhya Upanishad, principal Upanishads, largely because Adi Shankara commented on them. There may have been commentators who commented on them earlier than Shankara, but we have no evidence of it. And from the time of Shankara, we usually date him 788 to 820. Then other commentators have written their particular viewpoint of the Upanishads. The Upanishads, by and large, concern one subject alone. What is the nature of ultimate reality? What is this world? What is a human being? And do we have any, words fall short, participation in, connection to, identification with the infinite? In Aitareya, some scholars date it late Bronze Age, some date it as recently as maybe 500 BCE. It's definitely pre-Buddhist. In each one of the Vedas, lodged in an Upanishad from each of the 4 Vedas, we have what are called the Mahavakyas. Who can tell me what a Mahavakya is?
Great sentence.
Yes, literally great utterance from Vach. So there are 4. Prajnanam Brahma. Brahman is consciousness. This Mahavakya comes from this Upanishad, Aitareya Upanishad. Ayamatma Brahma, this self is Brahman. Tat Tvamasi, you are that. We call that one the Upadesha Mahavakya. All the branches of yoga are implied in that. Who knows what the 4th one is?
Brahmasvi.
What's it mean?
I am Brahma.
Yes. Mind you, it doesn't say I know Brahman. Doesn't say I'm related to Brahman. Doesn't say I merged into Brahman. What does it say? I am Brahman. So this is the fundamental message of the Upanishads. And it's the message of this Upanishad as well. Now, because it's in the Aranyaka, it has a section in it that is also Upasana. So what do we do with that? What's its meaning? Why is it there? In the tradition, in the Vedas, we have what's called the Karma Kanda section, the ritual portion, things that we do. That's why it's called karma. And then we have the Jnana Kanda, the knowledge portion. Lots and lots of scholars argue you must do ritual. It is enjoined by the Vedas. Yes, we do have the Jnana Kanda, but they are both there. You got to do both. We need action plus knowledge. The answer to this is yes and no. Self-realization is never the result of action. Why? Because action is not opposed to the problem. What does Vedanta say is the root of my problem? Anybody know?
Ignorance?
Yes. Avidya, ajnanam, ignorance. So I'm thinking of a tune. How many jumping jacks do you have to do to know the tune I'm thinking of? How many times need you run around the block? You go to the gym, lift weights. How long must you fast to know what tune I'm thinking of? How many prayers must you do? Molly asked me what the tune is.
Where's the tune?
Row, row, row your boat gently down the stream. Now do you know it?
Mhm.
How did you find out?
Yes.
Yes. So it is inquiry. It is investigation. Vicharena, by means of investigation. Now, in Sanskrit, the word vichara comes from the root vich, which literally means to winnow, to separate the wheat from the chaff. So the fruit of investigation is knowledge. Why have the Vedas given us the karma kanda? Who can answer that? It's an important question.
Repertory?
Exactly. In order to properly investigate, koham, who am I? We need to have a sattvic mind. What is a sattvic mind? What is sattva? Mud? What is sattva? You know these things?
Pure,
Pure mind.
peaceful.
Yes. A clear mind. And again, a pure mind doesn't mean goody-goody thoughts. It means fewer thoughts, less agitation. Vishuddham, very pure. That's the kind of mind that's necessary for effective inquiry into the nature of the self. So the scriptures have given us methods to purify the mind. Various rituals, pilgrimages, practices of purification. Those of us who study the Raja Yoga tradition, we have the yamas and niyamas. If we study the Vedanta traditions, we become adhikari, a fit student, viveka, vairagya, samadhi, guna, mumukshutva. All of these are preparatory practices so that our Atma Vichara, inquiry into the nature of the self, is fruitful. Jim, I've done subject-object discrimination. I've inquired into the nature of the self. I get nowhere. I'm a miserable creature, and I still feel like a miserable creature. This is useless stuff. No blame. It just means the mind is still. Do rose. Set the self-inquiry on the shelf for now. Continue with intense devotional practices, selfless service, karma yoga, bhakti yoga. Do our scripture study. Maybe meditate on an object or a form of the Lord for a while. And when the mind becomes pure enough, it naturally starts to turn inward. And then self-inquiry becomes much, much more fruitful. Any questions about this relationship between the karma kanda and the jnana kanda portions? They're to be done sequentially. We were talking before class, but our friend Wendy brought her knives over for the cooking lesson, and she was a super chopper.
Yes,
Were her knives really sharp?
I think so.
Yeah, makes the chopping easier when your knives are really sharp. But knife sharpening alone will not chop the onion. It is a preparatory. So, are you okay?
Just want to use the restroom, dude.
These preparatory practices in and of themselves will not free us. In this Upanishad, this is the longest Bhashya commentary that Shankara has written on any of the Upanishads, even though this is only 33 mantras. And he has an extensive introductory section where he deals with this issue. We do not gain liberation through action. We do not gain liberation from action plus knowledge. We do it now. Then Shankara also addresses in this introductory section the value of sannyas. What is sannyas?
Pronunciation.
Now, it has an exoteric meaning and an esoteric meaning. The exoteric meaning is you get Diksha from a Swami, you get a new name, you leave the world, you get the orange cloth, you renounce all worldly possessions, all familiar relationships, leave the world. That's the easy way, frankly. Later on, the tradition identifies that jnana knowledge is available to everyone whether you choose to take up the life of an ascetic and live in the forest, not. However, the precondition to being sthita prajna, a person of steady wisdom, is still renunciation. Mature vairagya. As soon as we start to talk about it, those of us who are in the world with family and jobs and homes and loved ones, oh, I'm not sure I want this. Okay. What we need to do is let go of our attachments to the world of the senses and any idea of self. The clearest example of how our avidya, our delusion, fools us is, of course, the classic example of someone who's like an alcoholic or an addict. At the end of their drinking or using, the alcoholic usually has a mindset of, if you had my problems, you drink too. I have all this wreckage, I'm behind on the mortgage and the rent, my spouse is leaving me, my friends won't talk to me, I need to fix all these things in the world, and there's no idea of the cause and effect relationship. This person thinks the drinking is the solution, when in fact it's the problem. I'm terribly upset. You'd drink too if you felt like I did. So also, Vedanta reveals to us the relationship between kama, craving, sangraha, attachment, and dukkha, suffering. What does it feel like to want something you don't have? Set physical pain on the shelf for now. Vedanta says there is no other suffering. Want something you don't have? The inverse, you want to get rid of something you don't like, Vesha, or Bhaya, fear. I have what I want, but I'm afraid I'm going to lose it. Don't believe me. Don't believe the scripture. Look to your own direct experience. Can you find any other kind of suffering? So what does the ordinary person in ignorance do about it? Well, I go try to get what I want. Now, let's examine what happens. First, we have to struggle. We have to work. We have what's called kartavya, obligatory action. I try to get my person, place, thing, or situation. And when desire and object of desire become one, now I want pizza. For a moment, the mind is delivered from pain of karma. In my delusion, I think the object has inherent happiness to it. But that's not really what's going on. For example, everybody experiences wetness and water. Everybody experiences heat and fire. Everybody experiences sweetness and sugar. But not everybody derives happiness from the same things. Now, you answer me this. Who has a bit of joy, a bit of happiness when you finally do get what you want? Isn't that interesting? So what Vedanta says, your swabhava, your self-nature, it's ananda, it's your swarup. Shankara says, Chidananda Rupam, Shivoham, Shivoham. My self-nature is bliss. So the yogi begins to see that when the mind is freed, even just momentarily, from the tyranny of craving, I get some peace. So when the alcoholic or the addict finally develops the desire to be free from the drug or the alcohol, first there's a period of mourning. I miss it. Once you've detoxed, what's left? Some freedom. So they don't learn how to drink or use moderately or socially acceptably. We remove the desire. That's just a socially unacceptable and extreme form of the human condition. That's all it is. You and I have the same addictive relationship with the world. This is why when Shankara talks about the necessity of sannyas, we freak out. Oh, I won't ever have any happiness. Truth is, what do we get? I like to say a nickel's worth of pleasure for 95 cents worth of work. Vedanta says, we will show you Ananda Marga, the path to real happiness. The path to real happiness. So in the end, the objects of the senses are not problematic. What's problematic is my attachment, my craving, my aversion. The cause of that is avidya, ignorance. I do not know who I am. I do not know where happiness is. So, the precondition to real peace of mind is mature vairagya. Shankara defines it as that desire, we do not achieve it overnight, to give up attachment to all experiences gained through the senses and all personal notions of self, starting from the body up to and including the form of Brahma, the creator, meaning I'm a powerful person. It needs to be please. Force Dita Prajna, steady wisdom. Any questions about this?
I have one.
Please.
You had mentioned that the karma texts and the knowledge texts, right? What does Aitareya fall under?
It's an Aranyaka. So Aitareya is, first part has some upasana and some explanation of creation. We'll get into that. And then it goes deeply into the knowledge portion. But it's kind of a hybrid, which is why I'm talking about it. Good question. Good question. All right. So what we need to understand, and again, Shankara goes into great depth in his commentary. He talks about how real knowledge is dependent only, real liberation is dependent only on knowledge. By here, we don't mean paroksha jnana, indirect knowledge. We can say Brahman is, that's indirect. We need aparoksha jnana, direct experience. Brahmasmi, I am. And he says we need to at least be open to this idea that if I'm unhappy, it's not because I'm not getting what I want. I'm unhappy because I'm stuck wanting, because I'm convinced something out there needs to be fixed in order for me to be happy. So what's implied from the very beginning is a practice. The practice is called Sakshi Bhava. What does that mean?
Attitude of the witness.
Yeah. Watch your mind. You want to watch two things. Pay attention to the tyranny of craving. That's the word I'm translating kama. Kama is usually translated as desire. I don't think desire is strong enough because we can have a preference as long as we can let it go. During the week, oh gee, I'd like to go get edamame and what's the stuff we get at Marufuku? Ramen. You look on your app, oh, they don't serve lunch during the week. Okay, we'll go another time. And let it go. I really need this promotion. I really need this candidate to win. I really need my spouse to behave themselves. That's a little different kind of craving. And you can enjoy without the need to possess. My favorite example is a sunset. Go out to Ocean Beach, watch a beautiful sunset. No one attempts to possess a sunset. It's 20 minutes of beautiful color. And when the sun sinks over the horizon, do you grieve and mourn? No. Well, I'm not saying, oh, I'm not going to go watch the sunset because I'm afraid I'll get attached. That's not how we do it. We do it through insight, vipassana. in Vivekachudamani, in his discussion of the qualifications of a fit student, Shankara addresses what we call shama, peacefulness, tranquility, that peaceful state of mind when it rests in steady contemplation of the goal. Take that on many levels. By sadhana, eventually by after having muhu again and again detached itself from the chaos of the sense objects. How? For steady observation of their dosha, their defects. That doesn't mean, oh, that's really ugly and bad, or that's really terrible, blah, 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 blah. It's not about getting disgust for the world. It's seeing the inherent relationship between kama, craving, spriha, longing, dvesha, aversion, and dukkha, suffering. So when I'm out there in the world and I'm wanting the world to be a certain way, but it is not, told you this many times. My nickname for my mind when I was in the ashram, Mudha. There I am wanting again. And it's so boring. And it's so repetitive. Again, who got upset this week? Tell me this is the first time you got upset over the same damn dynamic. Was it something new? Was it?
No.
Aren't you tired of it?
Yes.
But the mind says, one more time, I'm going to fix the world. And I love what Yoga Vasishtha says. Why try to cover the world in leather when you can wear shoes? If I'm disturbed, no matter the cause, I'm the one with the klesha. I'm the one with the attachment, the identification, the expectation, the control issue. Listen carefully. That does not mean they're right and I'm wrong. The world and its people are oftentimes quite wrong. But that's as far as most of us ever get. But the world can be wrong, and I don't have to be upset about it. Nobody has the power to make me feel anything. That's illusion. I choose it. Choose. So there's the old slogan, when you get sick and tired of being sick and tired, you might do something about it. Anybody know the kind of contemporary psychobabble definition of insanity? Doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results. Try something different. Rather than approaching the world with a baseball bat, trying to bludgeon it into submission, try letting go. I like to say that yoga, Vedanta practice, jnana yoga, is nothing more than profound common sense. It isn't woo-woo. You don't have to believe in devas and hell realms and all this sort of stuff, or going to this loka or that loka after you die. You don't have to believe in any of that stuff. It's about paying attention to what's right here, right now in front of your face. So, first assignment. What does it feel like to want something you don't have? It sucks. Own our own dukkha. Second practice. Own your ananda. When desire and object of desire become one, I get happy. Yoga says that's a taste of my own self-nature, my swarup. You mean happiness tastes the same, like good food, good music, good lovemaking, they all do the same thing to my mind? Yes. It will vary in intensity, and it will vary in duration. And I get fooled by the diversity of sensory stimulation. If I wanted it really badly, and the condition really satisfied that desire, oh man, this is fabulous. I didn't want it so much, and it came along, well, that's kind of nice. I wanted it really badly, it only partially satisfied the desire. It's okay. What it does to my mind is the same. Mind goes out with craving, it hurts. Mind comes home. There's the old example of the person hitting themselves on the head with a hammer. That is my craving. This, I want that, I want this, I want that, I want this, I want that. It hurts so bad. Someone says, why are you hitting yourself on the head with a hammer? Because when I stop, it feels so good. People places things in conditions. People places things. Oh, I got what I want for a moment. More pain, more pain. Oh, he was nice to me. Oh, I got some money. It's all that happens. Shankara thunders in the Bhashya at the beginning of the Upanishad. Sannyasena by means of intense renunciation do we gain peace. For many of us, we have to let the world kick us around, beat us up. We have to try the method of bhoga. What is bhoga? Enjoyment. Some of us are bogies. A bogie lives life from the philosophical viewpoint. Getting what I want, what will make me happy. More cars, more money, bigger house, bigger job, different partner. Get a partner, get rid of the partner, all these sorts of things. End result is more craving. Contrast with bhoga, we've got yoga. A yogi also wants happiness. but she embarks on a way of living which has as its objective the reduction of the number of desires. So we're not tyrannized, beat up so bad. Okay, any questions about any of this? I know for many of you this is repetition, but we have some new people. All of this is fundamental preparatory understanding. It's also covered in Shankar's Bhashya on this Upanishad, which is quite rich. Now, each one of the Upanishads begins with a Mangalam, a blessing prayer, a Shanti mantra. This particular one from the Rig Veda has a Shanti mantra, and I must confess, it's not one I'm super familiar with. So if you've got the text, please turn to page 23. We'll find it. Now, do you have the big sheet with the swaros on it? Would you show it to everybody so they can see it? So that's the same text that's in your book, but do you see the little markings, the lines below and above the various syllables? Can you all see that? Yes?
Yes.
Those are called swaras. And they tell you when to make your voice go down, center pitch, and above. And this is all how to learn to do Vedic chanting. If any of you have an interest in learning it from that, I can print out some other ones. There's a wonderful book called Mantra Pushpam, which has all sorts of Vedic chanting in it with all the swaras, so you can learn. Now, like I say, I'm not facile enough to teach this to you because I'm working on it myself. But thank God for technology. We have a YouTube Pujari who will help us out. So get your copy of it. And then there's transliterations in Roman letters for those who wish, and we'll see if we can give it a shot. This particular Pujari, he'll chant it once, and then you'll hear the audience repeat it twice for each line. So let's give it a shot.
Playing from iPhone.
Om Vande Manasi Pratisthita. Om Vande Manasi Pratisthita. Mano me vasi pratishthitam. Mano me vasi pratishthitam. Adi Adi Maedi. Adi Adi Maedi. Vedasya Mahani. Vedasya Mahani. Sutam me ma prahasi. Sutam me ma prahasi. Anena hitena. Anena hitena. Ahoratram sandhami. Ahoratram sandhami. Vritam vadishyami. Vritam vadishyami. vadishyami Dhammamadatu Dhammamadatu Tadbhaktaramavatu Tadbhaktaramavatu Avatu Mam Avatu Mam Avatu Bhaktaram Avatu Bhaktaram Avatu Bhaktaram Avatu Bhaktaram Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Okay, so we'll work on that and learn it. I can send this YouTube to any of you who wish. You just let me know. So would you read the translation, please? Again, on page 23.
Peace invocation. Om, may my speech be rooted in my mind. May my mind be rooted in my speech. Brahman, reveal thyself to me. O mind and speech, enable me to grasp the truth that the Vedas teach. Let not what I have heard forsake me. Let me continuously live my days and nights in my studies. I think truth, I speak truth. May that truth protect me. May that protect the teacher, protect me, protect the teacher, protect the teacher. Om, peace, peace, peace.
So let's parse it because it's very deep, has a lot of teaching in it. So read the first idea for me, please.
Om, may my speech be rooted in my mind, and my mind be rooted in my speech.
So here we talk about the relationship between our speech and our thinking. So the Buddhists have a wonderful paradigm, a guidance, a teaching on right speech. It's a good way to think about it. Is it kind? Is it true? Is it timely? Is it useful? So being mindful and aware of right speech is of great value. This is a discipline. So in our minds, we take on the discipline of right speech. Is it kind? Is it truthful? Is it necessary? Is it timely? My speech be rooted in what is auspicious. So the opposite idea means we work on giving up gossip, giving up character assassination, giving up talking about how terrible the world is, how awful all things are, blah, 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 blah. Many of us waste a lot of speech in that. We begin to see the relationship between speech and mind. The discipline of right speech begins to affect my thinking. And the opposite is true too. I may not say anything to anyone, but if I spend the entire morning reviewing my miseries, I like to tell people worry is not an effective tool for improving your life. Worry does nothing but make you miserable. Be solution oriented. There's something that needs changing, then act to change it if you can. Sometimes we can't, we just have to accept it and let it go. But reviewing how miserable I am, reviewing what's wrong with everybody, regrets over past relationships or misdeeds, concern about the future in my thinking is not conducive to spiritual unfold. So we want to see this relationship between my thinking, mind, and my speech. Another dimension that he's talking about, if you come from a religious family where you do ritual, have you ever just been chanting the mantras and your mind is off someplace else? It's pointless. So we try to put our minds where our hands are working, put our intention behind our speech. So this is the deeper meaning. May my speech be in my mind. May my mind be in my speech. You know, when you think of politicians and they have to walk around in the world as if someone was going to put a microphone right in front of them, everybody's going to be listening to what you say and take it seriously. It's actually a good spiritual practice. What if you and I moved through the world as if what we said was important? People were going to listen to it, believe it. Most of us don't think what we say makes any difference. So one of the things that's implied here is endeavoring to speak truthfully, kindly, timely manner, useful manner. Next idea.
Brahman, reveal thyself to me.
Yes. So this is the intention of our study. Brahman, reveal thyself to me. We have to understand that there's not Brahman out there in the sky someplace and, oh, I'm studying and I'm meditating. There he is! I saw him! No. Brahman is not other than you. My problem is I don't realize it. Both bondage and liberation occur to the mind. The self is ever free. This is not that I need to become something. I don't go from a miserable worm into something that's wonderful and beautiful. It's not about self-improvement. It's about the abandonment of our wrong ideas of self. It's about rediscovering who I am. It's more like this. Oh, I've lost my glasses. Oh, God, please help me find my glasses. I've looked in all the drawers. I've looked in the pockets of all my jackets. I cannot find my glasses. I am without my glasses. What am I going to do? Oh, wait a minute. There they are. Oh, I had them all So when the mantra says, Brahman, reveal thyself to me, Brahman is another name for you. Find out who you are. Find out who Brahman is. We talked about our 4 Mahavakyas, that second one. I am Atma, Brahman, this self. Next idea.
O mind and speech, enable me to grasp the truth that the Vedas teach.
Yes. So, the style of the Vedas, the style of the Upanishads, is maximum meaning with minimum words, and they are deliberately written in coded language. This is why it's almost impossible for someone to understand an Upanishad without a teacher, or at least with a very, very good commentary. Because we'll misinterpret it, we'll misunderstand it, we'll superimpose our own unexamined belief systems on it. So here, let my mind be clear. Let me investigate in the kind of thinking that the scriptures suggest. So I come to a clear understanding. Now, again, when we get into the scripture itself, we're going to find this first section has a creation myth. If you read other Upanishads, you'll find that there are other creation myths. Well, they disagree with one another. Again, this is all mystic symbolism. So we have to begin to understand what's the deep import. Shankara says, to be a fit student, you've got to be able to argue for the scriptures and refute arguments against them. Is this something you do at cocktail parties or on, what do they call it? Many of the corporations in Silicon Valley, people get together Friday afternoon or something.
Happy hour.
Happy hour, yeah. Is that where you argue for the scriptures? Where do you argue for the scriptures?
In your own mind.
Yes. Why? Because the world gives us a particular viewpoint, especially in America. We get one with most toys wins. My car is fancier than your car. I have designer clothes. I wear the labels on the outside. I have 30 pairs of shoes in my closet. Oh, I'm feeling depressed. I'm going to go shopping. So many of us have these things. So what we talked about in the beginning, the necessity of sannyas, it's counterintuitive according to the world. So we have to be willing to argue for the scripture, refute arguments against them in my own life. No, I'm taking up a different way of life. I have a different goal. I want something more enduring, something that's more satisfying. Next idea.
Let not what I have heard forsake me.
Yes. So again, Shankara says that you need to have medha. Who can tell me what medha means?
Good memory.
Good memory. Some people interpret it meaning I can memorize verses and quote them. I can remember the last time I was in India, I was talking with this woman who said, oh, I finally memorized the entire 15th chapter of Gita. It's a great accomplishment. I says, do you know what it means? And she says, no. It's just gibberish there. So the deeper meaning of medha, it can be of value to memorize verses. Again, you don't have to do it in Sanskrit. You can do it in your mother tongue. But the deeper meaning of medha, memory, is I remember to apply the teaching at a critical point in my life when it becomes useful. So I asked you earlier, who got upset this week? A bunch of hands went up. I would suspect from many of you forgot the teaching of Vedanta and were convinced they did it to me. So and so didn't do it right. So and so didn't meet my expectation. So and so said something that hurt my feelings. And that seems real. Did you remember Jim's spiritual axiom that if I'm disturbed, no matter the cause, I'm the one with the glacier? Oops, no, I forgot it. I thought he said it's a spiritual axiom that if I'm disturbed, you're the cause. My mind does. So remembering to apply the teaching. You have a wonderful experience. Oh man, that was so great. We need to do that more often. That's really what makes me happy. Rather than thinking, that was a taste of myself. Krishna, Krishna, Krishna. So this is the deeper meaning. Having a keen memory. Not only can I remember the teaching, the verses, but I can remember to apply. Now, I want to tell you a secret. After 2 or 3 years of studying with Swamiji, I could tell you what he was going to say before it came out of his mouth. He was so repetitive. And I learned why he was so repetitive. Because I was so stupid. I would keep forgetting the truth. Beauty of the Vedanta, we have all these various scriptures, but the actual principles are few, deep, and countercultural. Such is the nature of ignorance, as I just black out and I forget it. I forget it at the critical moments of life. Am I the only one who's had this experience? Am I unique? Huh? No? So this is why we have the repetition. This is why we have the repetition. Next idea.
Let me continuously live my days and nights in my studies.
Yes. So it doesn't mean I'm up at night with a light reading more scripture, more scripture, more scripture. It means, can I turn my life into sadhana? In the beginning, we start off thinking the spiritual life is something I'm going to do to make my worldly life a little better. I do it after my weekly massage and before my Pilates class. But at some point, it all turns around. And I see the goal of the human life is moksha, freedom. Everything in life becomes useful. Just talk out of my own experience. Walk across the street. The bus is supposed to come at 11:13. It doesn't come. It's 11:15. It's 11:20. It's 11:30. No bus. I could get annoyed. I could get fearful. I'm not going to make it to my appointment. I could get angry. Effing AC Transit. Why don't they get their act together? Or I could say, what is the Lord teaching me? Love, acceptance, patience, being present with what is. What's the opportunity here? Where can I find God? Right here. Where can I be of service? Right here. Yes. How are you doing, fellow traveler? Strike up a conversation. Whole thing flips. Everything becomes sadhana. Next idea.
I think truth, I speak truth.
Yes. Satyam. We start with cash register honesty. Don't tell lies. But later, you deal with this very deep psychological condition, which I call the Cleopatra syndrome. Does anybody know about the Cleopatra syndrome? She's the queen of denial. The mind's continual practice of hiding a bit of a slimy motive behind the good one. I wasn't trying to get back at someone else. I was just pointing things out to them. I wasn't doing character assassination. I was just letting other people know what this person's like, etc. I think I'm being useful and of service when I really want ego strokes and attention. So we continually look for this truthfulness in our own psyche. 90% of healing is awareness. Can't let go of something, we can't see it. This is one of the great benefits of meditation. Next idea.
May that truth protect me.
Yes. Ultimately, the truth is aham brahmasmi, sarvam kalvidam brahma. All this world is nothing but Brahma. And that's my greatest protection, that truth. Next idea.
May that protect the teacher, protect me, protect the teacher, protect the teacher.
Yes. May this truth that we're studying in this Upanishad protect the teacher, meaning what is channeled through the teacher as a value and truthful. May I be protected. May I not get angry or distracted or defensive. Work well together. And then it ends with peace, 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 right? Yeah. And that's always from the three levels first from earthquakes and things like that, from my own physical ailments, and my own interior mind. May I find peace from all three. So the whole Shanti mantra is a great teaching. So we'll chant it at the beginning of each class. Next week we'll get into the mantras proper. We'll end here. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om. Shri Guru Pyo Namaha. Hari Om.